Hello everyone, it's from the chair audiobook reviews, and I'm trying a different angle today just to see what it's like. See if it's a bit more interesting. This is going to be a audiobook review on Malfoy, the fallen fate of the Wizarding World's most treacherous family. The unofficial exploration is called. This is written by Ivan Kakeman, the same person who wrote The Life and Lives of Albus Dumbledore, the renowned headmaster. Exploration book, unofficial. He wrote that as well. Are both read by Richard Trinder brilliantly. So let's talk about Malfoy. Malfoy is a book about Draco and his family. It starts off in the same way as the Dumbledore book. It talks about year one, how he is comes to Hogwarts as if he owns the place because his father's on the board, and he uses his last name as prestige because he's Malfoy. I'm Draco. I'm Malfoy. Draco Malfoy. So he thinks his name's worth something. Can't believe that Dumbledore gave the Gryffindors the House Cup at the end of the Philosopher's Stone, or Sorcerer's Stone, as they say in America. But it's for us in the UK, as it should be, because Americans were frightened of the word philosopher, or the Scholastic were. It is the Philosopher's Stone, not the Sorcerer's Stone. So, yes, I probably did that in the Dumbledore book as well. So he talks about that, and in the Chamber of Secrets, it kind of follows on because he's moaning to his dad about how Hermione beat him. Is like, Harry this, Hermione that. And he just Lucius just come back and said, "Well, I'd be embarrassed if Muggle, Mudblood, and Muggleborn would ever beat my son in an exam. I'd be embarrassed." So, yeah. So he says that, and so he goes into year two being more boastful because the heir of Slytherin, like trying to get rid of Mudbloods, as Draco put it. Um, um, Lucius doesn't actually use the word mudblood, even though I stumbled over my words back then about Lucius. He doesn't actually use the word mudblood, which is something I was shocked by. But when you rip the book apart, if this is true from this book, it doesn't really. He doesn't use it, which is amazing. So where does he learn this from? Conversation. We don't know. Then we got book three where he again tries to get rid of Buckbeak and Hagrid because he can't believe Hagrid is a teacher. Most of the third book is about. It's not about Draco, but it's Draco's fingerprints all over it. About trying to get rid of Hagrid and Buckbeak, and Hermione slaps him as hard across the face, and that's the first time she actually loses her temper around Malfoy. He's scared of her. That comes up in the later books as well. That he's like a bit scared of Hermione. For a woman that's a Muggle-born, a girl that's a Muggle-born, doesn't use magic. She just goes up and slaps him. Kind of knocks Draco's confidence a bit. We got book four about the Goblet of Fire, where he uses Rita Skeeter to get to Harry through the Daily Prophet. So we have different, what they call story arcs for Draco. Part one is about kind of just him being the bully. Arc two is where he kind of makes his own action, and then there's part three. I don't want to go into too much, detail, because I don't want to ruin the book for you, but that's just a taster of the type of thing, briefly, what is going on. When it gets to Deathly Hallows last chapter, part part 3/4, I think, 7 3/4, there is a audio gaff where Crabbe is trying to say, when he's doing the free fire, where Voldemort wants Harry dead anyway. What's the diff? You're supposed to say difference, but it cuts off. So there is an audio gaff mistake, cut off too early. Only a slightly second, because he doesn't say what's the diff. He's supposed to say difference, but he doesn't say, he says diff, and then carried on to the end of the footnote. So there is an audio mistake in the last chapter. Had to point that out. As I said, the book is actually longer than the Dumbledore one, which surprised me when I looked it up. This book is 9 hours and 49 minutes, and the Dumbledore one is 7 hours 9 minutes. So an extra 2 hours and nearly 3 hours extra for a Malfoy. I mean, considering he's a secondary character, and Dumbledore, in Ivan Capeman's own words, was pulling the strings from behind. I know if you pull the strings, you can't really see it, but I just can't believe that the Malfoy book's longer. Because again, he's a secondary character. Okay, Dumbledore's a secondary character as well, but Dumbledore was pulling the strings and being a Machiavellian kind of someone who inspires people. I'm just surprised how the Malfoy book is a bit longer. I suppose he managed to make it longer because he did actually split the third book, not the third book, the seventh book into several chapters, because different things happen in different chapters that need to be kind of isolated. The Battle of Malfoy Manor, what is Draco up to in the Battle of Hogwarts. So it is split into 3 different chapters. But he says 7.5, 7.3, so that kind of thing. So he does kind of split it, but he still keeps it 7. So it is well resourced. It is well read by Richard Trinder. It is interesting, and if you really think about the arc for Draco, I didn't think there was one when I first read the book. I mean, I knew there was an arc of like he wasn't really, didn't really want to be a Death Eater, but I didn't really think of the arc until I read this book. And if you think you're a fan before you kind of read these 2 books, you have a deeper love for these books, because you'll never read them the same way again. And you talk about how some of the books mirror each other, and when you read the books and these 2 books explain what that means, they really are well written stories. I mean, almost people say, "Oh, there's children's books." That's only surface level. That is only surface level. These aren't just normal children's books, and they never were. But when you get people ripping these books apart like this, and they're well known enough, these books, to have audiobooks on them about Dumbledore, about Malfoy, and there's another one about from another person about Snape that I've nearly finished reading and want to do a review of. I mean, that one was 13 hours and something, so that's even longer than the Dumbledore and Malfoy one. But that's going to go into review when I review it. But to have these books about a book series about individual characters is how well Jo wrote these books. How deep her secondary characters are. And it isn't just about Harry, Ron and Hermione, the Golden Trio. These secondary characters are well written too. And in the case of the Dumbledore book, I think he said he had read them 13 times to get all the information that he found. He didn't say how many times he read it for Draco, but I'm sure it was 13 times. But again, these are super fans. If you think you're a fan, then wow. So yeah, if you like this review, I have prattled on a little bit. Please like, comment, subscribe to this new audiobook channel of mine, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye!